Hello, hello, hello. So I am opening up the chat on my Facebook. If you're hopping on live, comment live. If you're watching the replay, comment replay. So I'm gonna see if we are live on Facebook. Yep, showing the live icon. Yes, perfect. Okay, awesome. Let me just make sure you're good to go. Oh, goody. Yay. Okay. Fun. Okay. Awesome, awesome. So, hey, hey, hey. My name is Amanda Renouf, and I am a business operations mentor and fractal COO. And I'm all about helping you create a profitable business that is beyond simple to run. So, if you're watching this, I'm going to test out my little lighting kit. Actually, okay. Yes. Okay. So now we got the lighting kit going. Okay. So, if you are watching this, I want you to tap into a space to really soak this message in because today's message is going to completely change the game in terms of how you scale and grow your business, in terms of how you experience big megawatt launches, in terms of how you experience growing fast in your business, growing slow in your business. It's going to kind of completely change the game in terms of how you perceive either of those experiences in your business. And so, want you to drop a heart, or if it feels like too revealing, you could drop an internal heart, but drop a heart in the chat if you've ever grown your business fast. If you've ever grown your business faster than what you had capacity for. If you've ever grown your business where you got dysregulated. If you've ever grown your business where you felt overwhelmed by the amount of clients you signed at one time, by the amount of workload that showed up in your business at one time, by the amount of everything that was happening in your life and business at the same time. And it stretched your capacity. It stretched your capacity muscles. Drop a heart in the chat if you've ever experienced that. I have. And it was dysregulating as all frig, right? Super dysregulating. Because when you grow fast, and when people talk about like quantum leaps and big expansions, the reality of a quantum leap, the reality of a big expansion is you're growing fast. And so mentally, we can get behind that, right? Most of us mentally, if we were to logically think about growing fast, we would be like, yeah, I'm here for it. Double the amount of clients in my group programs, double the amount of people in my one-on-one, double the amount of like audience members, let's go big, like let's go for it, let's do the thing, right? Mentally, if we were to say that, most of us could logically be on board. But what is actually like sabotaging most people from going bigger, what is actually blocking most people from going bigger, what actually was a lesson I learned in my 88K agency launch is mentally we could be on board with expansion and with going bigger in our businesses, but our body, right, and our nervous system might not be on board yet. Our body and our nervous system has a certain capacity level encoded. And so if you were to grow big, if you were to grow fast, your body and nervous system has to acclimate to that growth, has to acclimate to that growing fast. And if you've ever felt dysregulated after a huge launch, or if you've ever felt dysregulated after signing a bunch of clients that now your body is getting used to handling and getting used to delivering inside of Voxer or Telegram, this is typically the case. And so I kind of want to share with you guys a personal story about like how I learned this specific microdosing capacity practice that I teach inside a capacity mastermind, inside a delegate with my one-on-one clients. And I'm going to walk you through this practice that you can test in your business. And I'm going to show you how I learned it the hard way. So prior to starting my agency, I like really capacity and being consistent in business. Like really struggled with it. I was the queen of social media. I was the queen of showing up, going all in on social media a couple weeks, burning out, and then not showing up on social media for weeks after. I was the queen of telling any coach that I ever worked with that, oh, I'm just too tired. I don't have the energy for that. I'm a human design projector. There's no way I could physically do that, or I'm just too burnt out. And when my coach or mentor would physically look at my to do list, they would go, how are you burnt out when you barely have anything on your to do list? Right? I'm just not computing it. And so, like, it, it was this big thing. And then I started an agency. And the workload, there is, I've talked about this a bunch of times with different service providers, with different agency owners. The workload that an agency owner has versus the workload that an online coach has is night and day. I had just a coaching business prior to starting an agency. And so I thought that was a lot of workload until I started an agency. And starting an agency literally tripled my workload overnight. At the height of my agency, I had 7 major clients on retainer, large packages where I was practically running their entire businesses. It felt like I was running 7 businesses at the same time. So I went from complaining to my coach saying, I can't do the work with just one business, to being glued to ClickUp, being glued to Zoom, doing triple, quadruple the work and hitting every single deadline. And was it dysregulating? Heck yes, it was dysregulating. But something I learned from that experience was I eventually acclimated to that workload. I eventually acclimated to that workload. Drop a heart in the chat if you've ever experienced that, where you doubled, tripled, quadrupled your workload, you got into a really busy season in your business, and you noticed that you actually acclimated to that workload once you started getting a rhythm in it, once you started to simplify it, once you created systems around it, once you started to delegate around it more. What ended up happening was I got to a point in my business where it was just so much to handle. It was like shocking, right? It was like dysregulating. And then I started delegating more. I started removing stuff off my plate. We started creating more SOPs, we started creating more systems, we started creating more automations, and the workload started to naturally shrink. And what ended up happening was I was fully expecting my capacity to go back to the capacity level it was at before I started an agency. I expected to just be so burnt out that I wouldn't want to do anything. But what happened was weird, where as my workload started to shrink, it felt like that the word that came up was walk in the park. That's what it felt like, was like a walk in the park. I was like, this is easier was doing when I was doing everything in the agency, right? And so what this is a sign of, and I coined this with my different service provider friends and like different clients that are agency owners and OBMs. I have a lot of like agency owner and OBM clients too. We coined it the agency effect. And so the agency effect is when you increase your workload, you increase your capacity, and then you are now at a new capacity threshold. So now it's like you're raising the foundation, you're raising the baseline of what your nervous system can physically handle. And I wouldn't actually recommend doing it how I did it. I tell my clients all the time, I do not recommend this. Like, I would not recommend doing it how I did it. It was very dysregulating. It was very like panic attack inducing. It's freaking traumatizing, like doing it that way. Lots of inner work that we had to do around that. It's funny that I can laugh about it now because I was not laughing about it then. But you can definitely microdose this experience, increase your capacity without burning out, without going to the extreme of dysregulation. And so, a practice that I share in Capacity Mastermind is you can microdose increasing your workload for 1 day. You can microdose increasing your workload for 1 week just to stretch your capacity muscles. Like, think of it like muscles, right? If you lift weights, you're going to build muscles, right? If you don't lift weights, the chances of you building muscles aren't as high, right? As compared to you like lifting weights. If you lift weights, you're going to build muscle. It's the same with capacity. Like if you stretch your capacity, you're going to build your capacity to hold more. You're going to build your productivity muscle. You're going to build all these different pieces. And the goal with microdosing capacity and not binging on capacity. So, if we were going to get psychedelic about this, the goal with microdosing capacity and not tripping on capacity is we want to just do it, push the edges, but we don't want to go extreme. So maybe like 1 day of increasing workload or 1 week of increasing workload. Then when you go back to your normal workload, it's going to feel so much more doable and you're going to notice yourself being even more productive and getting things done as you stretch that capacity. And for my people that are like burnt out already, that are already in adrenal fatigue or are already in like burnout, I would actually mentor you the opposite. So, what I just gave is for people who are struggling with doing like a small amount, right? But they want to increase their capacity to do more because they want to hit certain goals. Maybe they want to hit their first six figures. Maybe they want to hit their first multi six figures, their seven figures. They have a dream of becoming like this big Fortune 100 CEO, but you need to have certain capacity thresholds to be able to hold that without getting dysregulated. So that would be the mentorship I'd give them. On the opposite, a lot of people in the coaching industry are actually on the opposite trajectory. So most of the clients that I work with are already burnt out, are already at their extreme, are already at their capacity threshold. They are doing there's only so many hours in the day, right? And so their opposite is divine download effect. So the divine download effect is doing less. So it is, putting a day or a week where you do less or you do nothing and you balance that out more, right? What I see a lot in the space is we're going on extremes. We're either hustling to the point of burnout or we are in stagnation to the point of rumination and being stuck, right? So if you can notice where you're at, if you can self audit, like where am I at on that scale, that's going to give you information around which end of the stick you're going to microdose and going to push a capacity threshold around. So maybe your capacity threshold is you need to do less. And so it's going to feel edgy for you to do less. If you're used to grinding, if you're used to moving at like a breakneck pace, your edge is going to be slowing down. Like your edge is going to be going slower. Your edge is going to be doing less. That is your scary edge. On the opposite, if you notice that you go at an extreme slow pace, but nothing moves and you've been stuck in stagnation in your business for years and decades, and you're just not hitting the goals you want to hit, your capacity threshold is going to do more. Your capacity threshold is going to push those edges. Your threshold is going to move, is going to create momentum, right? And so microdosing capacity in these different ways ends up creating like a business that you could fully be acclimated to at any season of your business. And knowing how to self audit yourself in like any season of your business is going to help you with expansion. It's going to help you with growing your business. Like if you notice you're in stagnation, you do one thing. If you notice you're in burnout, you do another thing. And so this is how we end up creating like really simple businesses that are profitable and simple to run by being really self-aware of where we're at any given moment. One of the worst things is to feel like nothing is figure outable or to feel like you're just stuck in a scenario. This practice, this microdosing capacity practice, helps you to always know that you're never stuck in any scenario. You could always do one or the other practice to rebuild momentum and to get yourself moving again. And so very, very exciting. Before we open up Q&A, I'm just going to talk real quick about the microphone method because the microphone method is something that I learned after the agency effect. So when we got into the agency effect and I started to get more space in my business, we started delegating more and I started, trusting my team more. And I started, pushing that edge, right, of getting things off my plate because it's like learning how to surrender more. We came across and we built this process for managing social media and email marketing. So, one of the things that I noticed the most in the online space is people get very overwhelmed with social media marketing and with managing things with their team. It gets overwhelming, it gets hard to run, it feels wonky anytime you assign content to team, it comes back weird, or maybe you don't have time to be reviewing Google Docs all day. And it just feels like you guys just haven't found your rhythm when it comes to managing and running all your socials and email without burning out. Well, that's where the microphone method comes in. The microphone method is this nice blend of honoring your nervous system while honoring your unique creativity and expression. So you get to have the blend of both in terms of managing your social media. And so, for the first time ever, I'm going to be teaching this unique methodology that I've built in my clients' businesses, that we've built content banks around, that we've set up systems in ClickUp and Asana and Trello around. I'm going to be walking you step by step how to set this up with your team or even your virtual assistant. So, if you have a virtual assistant on your team, you can run this as well. And it's going to be a process that's going to simplify social media for you for good. Really, really good. It's going to come with a 90-minute masterclass with Q&A. There will be hot seat coaching and you will have lifetime access to the replay. So if you can't make the masterclass live, no biggie. There's going to be a replay and it's all happening on April 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern. You also get bonus 2 powerhouse click and instant install templates for your business. It's like hiring me and my operations team to build out these systems in your business for you. But with a few clicks, they get instant installed into your ClickUp account, into your Airtable account, and to run your entire system. So you're going to get the Airtable Content Bank template to help easily store and organize all your launch and evergreen content. So if you've ever wanted to relaunch a specific launch, or you're like, the content around that I used to sell my mastermind was so dang good, where is it? You can easily find that content again and easily be able to reuse it again with team. You also get the ClickUp task templates. So these are the exact tasks that are assigned to my team right now to repurpose my Facebook posts into email, into Instagram posts, into IG stories, into all different types of content. You'll even learn how to turn a Facebook post into a TikTok reel. And these are step-by-step SOP tasks. So it is written step 1, do this, step 2, do this. So you can literally hand this to your virtual assistant and they'll be able to take your content and turn it into different types of content that are trending and algorithm friendly. So you're not just copy pasting across channels, but you're doing it strategically. You're doing it with intention and you're doing it in a way that actually works. So if you want to sign up for that, I highly suggest signing up. There are 2 ways to join. There is the general admission, which is just a seat to masterclass with the 2 digital templates. And that is early bird pricing right now until April 18th. And then there is VIP admission, which you get everything in general admission. Plus, you get 30 days of private Telegram coaching support with me. So we get to voice chat and text message back and forth about your content marketing strategies, around managing your content, around creating content faster and easier and in less time with your virtual assistant and team. And you get my eyeballs on the exact tasks that you are delegating to your virtual assistant or delegating to your social media manager or delegating to your VA to run your microphone method in your business. So if you're like, I'm not sure if this is super clear, or hey, I really want my VA or social media manager to get us on TikTok or to get us on Instagram or vice versa, you get 30 days of me being in your business and giving you that coaching and mentorship support to make sure things are really set up, really relaxed and juicy. So if that's your vibe and you're like, that excites me, highly suggest signing up. The links to sign up are in the comments below. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, the links to sign up are in the description below. So I'm going to open up Q&A and I'm going to share some behind the scenes of the microphone method and talk to you guys about the microphone method as well. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to drop it in the chat and I'll answer your questions. I have my little chat feature right here so I can see on both accounts, like where all the chats and friends is good. Okay, so I want to share a story about my client M and her experience with wanting to start a public speaking career, but feeling like social media was eating up all her time and that she never had the time in her business to start this part of her business that she had been talking about. She had been talking about with all of her friends about that she had been wanting to do for a while. She came to me and hired my operations agency to set up a content bank for her inside of Airtable. So she was like, Amanda, I feel like I'm in daily approvals with my virtual assistant. I feel like we're spending so much time on social media. I feel like all we do is just edit and approve social media content. She's like, I spend more time on social media tasks than even with my clients. I want to get out of the social media content hamster wheel and just be able to just approve content once per week. That would be the dream, right? Just approve content once per week. So what we did was we created a content bank in Airtable to organize all the amazing content that she was already creating. And we created SOPs, so step-by-step task guides that her VA, virtual assistant, could follow to run her social media and email marketing for her and do it in a way that was on brand. So she wasn't getting content that didn't sound like her. She wasn't getting this weird repurposed content that like was not on brand and that she would feel embarrassed would end up on her feed. She was actually getting content that was her voice, that was her messaging, that was her copywriting, but we were just strategically repurposing it in ways that were friendly to each platform and that her VA could easily do. We were able to use different copy and pasting techniques so that her VA just had to copy paste across different channels and do it in certain ways using specialized templates and styling guides, which we teach inside of the microphone method masterclass, to do it in a way that was super low key. So a lot of times when people are first trying to delegate to a virtual assistant, right? So you'll be in a Facebook group and somebody's saying like, hey, I need to hire a virtual assistant because I need help with social media. I need help with my inbox. I need help with like email marketing. She's like, it's just like, you'll typically see those types of posts, people saying like, I need a catch-all person who can help me with everything, right? What typically happens when people first start delegating social media management to their virtual assistant is they get wonky content. Drop a heart in the chat if you've ever hired a virtual assistant and you tried delegating social media content and you either hated the content the person created, the content came out super messy, the content came out super wonky, the content did not sound like you, and or you were like, why did they create this, right? Chances are like, that's typically the case, right? When people first start delegating to a virtual assistant to do social media. And so then they get frustrated and they go, well, let me just find a social media manager to do it, or a copywriter to do it, or a social media agency to do it. Maybe I was just being cheap, right? And I just need to hire an expert to do it. So then they go to a social media manager, then they go to a copywriter, then they go to a social media agency, and they're still not happy with the content, right? The content does not sound like them. The content sounds very wonky. It feels like the agency is doing it, but they feel like they're overpaying for what they're getting, and they're still not getting results from the content. They're still not getting the visibility on the content. They're still not getting reach. They're definitely not getting sales or signups from the content that the agency is creating for them. And so they just feel frustrated. And so they typically get to a point where they talk to their coach or mentor and say, I guess I have to be the one just running my entire socials, and I'm burnt out. I have to choose between being on social media all day or, serving my clients, and my clients just paid me for these services. I have to serve my clients. So if you've ever experienced that, it could feel really frustrating and it could feel really isolating and feel like there's just no way out of that. And so that's why the microphone method was created, because I could see with a lot of my clients that they were prolific, right? They were amazing content creators. They created so much amazing content to grow their business to the level that they grew it to. And so them trying to find a social media manager, them trying to find a copywriter, them trying to find a social media agency that totally understood their brand, that knew how to write like them, that knew how to create content like them, but felt like a needle in a haystack task. And yes, some people were able to find great social media managers, great copywriters, great social media agencies, but it's still a needle in a haystack hire. I'm going to repeat that. I teach delegation, right? I have a full group micromind just on delegation, just on hiring and content. Your messaging is one of the hardest hires to hire for. We could hire for a community manager. We could hire for client concierge. We could hire for director of operations. We could hire for all those roles 10 times easier than hiring for a social media manager, copywriter, social media agency, because we are dealing with messaging. Messaging is so personalized. Messaging is the closest thing to your unique personality. And so trying to match that to the CEO, to the brand, right, is a needle in a haystack hire. Can you find amazing hires? Yes. Yes, you can. I've hired amazing social media managers, amazing copywriters, amazing social media agencies for clients. We do it. And it is one of the hardest hires. So if it is a hard hire for a COO, which is me, a fractal COO, doing that hiring process for clients, it's going to be a hard hire for somebody who is not a trained business operations mentor, who is not a trained with hiring practices, who does not have that background or experience. So that's why a lot of people in the coaching industry and the content creator industry get so frustrated in this part of their business, get so frustrated in this part of their business, have spent so much time stressing out in the part of their business with team, because it is a needle in a haystack hire. So because of that, we created the microphone method. The microphone method is designed to honor your unique message, is designed to honor your unique prolific speaking, is designed to honor your unique content. And instead of us creating new content at every single channel, having a hodgepodge mess, trying to, throw things into chat GPT to make it sound like you, but then you're still spending like hours editing it, and then you're doing all this crazy hodgepodge mess. Instead, we just take the concept of microphoning what you already created and just getting more eyeballs on it. So we're playing a totally different game. We're not playing with messaging, we're playing with visibility. So I repeat that. We're not playing with messaging, we're playing with visibility. So this is a whole different game we're playing. So the content that you poured your heart in, that you already created, that you know converts, now we're just getting more eyeballs on it. Now we're just putting it on more channels. Now we're just spreading the message of it. So that's why it works for my clients. I've built this methodology in multiple businesses, and every business that I've built it in, I've had clients cry saying, I wish I would have known about this sooner. This is so simple. This is 10 times simpler than what we were doing with my VA and what we were doing with my team. So that's why I'm teaching this masterclass, because I need to get the word out. I need to let you guys know there's another way to do social media marketing, another way to do email marketing with your team. There's another way to do it. That's where the microphone method comes in. The microphone method is designed to help you run all your social media channels, every single channel, plus your email marketing from one original post per day. From one original post per day. And this goes beyond content repurposing, right? There's tons of programs on content repurposing. This is not just a program on content repurposing. This is infused with my signature project management method called the expansion planning methodology. This is infused with EPM, the expansion planning methodology, to make it very simple for you to run with almost anybody on your team. You do not need to have an expert or advanced team member running this. You could literally have, I joke about this, but you could literally have your younger brother running this and following the SOPs because they're that tight. So if you feel like you want to eventually just get out of the social media content hamster wheel, you want to start your public speaking career, you want to be able to work with your clients more, you want to be able to coach more, but you still want to have powerful content going out there that your VA is running, then you're going to want to be in this masterclass. And I highly suggest signing up for the VIP because it's going to be awesome. So, yeah, highly suggest signing up for VIP admission. And so back to my story around my client. So she wanted to get off of the content hamster wheel. She was just done with it. She wanted to start her public speaking career. So within 30 days, we built an Airtable content bank for her that was super easy to run, super easy to organize and store her launch content. She literally has all her different offers organized neatly in there. And we have SOPs that her VA was able to follow. And so her VA is able to turn her content into emails, into reels, into IG stories, into Instagram posts, into all different types of content for her, magically before her eyes. And she just approves original content once per week. So she went from being in Slack daily with her team member, directing the ship, telling her, okay, now go post this on Instagram. Okay, now go post this on email. Okay, we got to move this to Facebook and vice versa, and spending hours in Slack doing that. So now she just gets an alert once a week in Slack saying, check Airtable, content is ready for approval for the week. Done. And then like magic, her stories are updated with new content. Like magic, her Instagram is updated with new content. She's not having to direct the ship. She's not having to tell somebody to go publish somewhere. It's just set to recurring. That's the power of the microphone method. It is an evergreen process that once you set up in your business, you just set it to recurring. And it's a process that we run through launches, the process that we run even when we're not launching, between launches, for evergreen value content. This process is so simple too, that right now I'm not just doing one launch. I'm not even doing one launch. I'm doing 2 launches. I'm doing this microphone method masterclass launch, and I'm doing an affiliate launch for the Unicorn Mojo content bundle. I'm in 2 launches right now. And we have content going out across all my channels that are promoting the affiliate launch and promoting my core launch. If that shocks you, it should, right? A lot of people get stressed out just doing one launch. And here we are doing 2 launches. And my team is not even on large packages. I have 1 team member on a 20-hour package, and I have 1 team member on a 10-hour package. 30 hours worth of work. not 80 hours, uh, not full time, 30 hours total between both team members. And that's not even all content tasks. Majority are like client facing tasks or, inbox management tasks or just helping me with building out my templates for my courses. So, all I'm saying right now is there is a simpler way to run your social media channels without you having to feel like you need to be glued to social media all day to get things running. You can if you want to, if you feel inspired, if you want to be like on lives and reels all the time, like because you have so much free time, by all means, but you don't have to. Like, that's the shift. So if you're listening to this and you're vibing with it and this is getting you excited, I highly suggest signing up for the microphone mass method masterclass. You could sign up via general admission or you could sign up via VIP admission and to share this live with as many biz besties as you can because it's going to be a really, really fun experience. There's going to be room for live hot seat coaching so you could get your questions personally answered. I'm very involved with all my clients. So, any question, you could bring any questions to the table. If you do VIP admission, especially, you could bring anything to that Telegram chat. You could even drop your posts in that Telegram chat and say, like, hey, how can we set things up so I could get more posts like this? Or, hey, how can we set things up so I could teach my VA how to create something like this, or vice versa? This would be the space for that. So, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And if you want to sign up on Facebook, links are in the comment. On YouTube, links are in the description. Alrighty, send you